It's Harlan Kilstein here. And what I'd like to share with you today is why most copywriters don't get paid. Now, I'd like you to pay attention to this video. There's nothing for sale in this video. This is pure information and instruction. What you learn from this video, this very video that you're watching, could make a significant change in the way you deal with clients. Okay, the phone rings or you get an email, and either on the phone or in the email, the bottom line is, how much will you charge me to write a sales letter for this ebook? The way you answer that question not only determines whether you're going to get paid or not, but it also determines if you're going to get paid or not. Let me explain. In sales, there is a difference between someone who is a buyer and someone who is a tire kicker. Someone who is purchasing only on the basis of price versus someone who is looking for greater than price. Now, you know that when it comes to price, there can only be one bottom seller before you're giving it away. And there are copywriters who are bottom sellers, and they're virtually giving themselves away in the idea of maybe they'll love me and give me future work, which is one of the great lies of copywriting. Oh, and if you give me a good price on this one, I'll be back with a lot more jobs. Trust me, it's not going to happen. Okay, next piece of information that you need to know about is that giving your copy away is just a plain, flat-out dumb idea. Do not sell yourself short. Do not write on spec, because you're setting the value of your work at zero, and you don't want to do that. So listen up. If you answer the question of how much will you charge me to do a long copy sales letter, how much will you charge me for this website, how much will you charge me to write a letter, with a number, it's game over. Okay? Do not pass go. Do not collect even $200, because you have just given the information to them and they don't need you anymore. They're price shopping. Now let me explain. What you need to do is you need to change that conversation. When they're asking you, how much do you charge? Guess what they're expecting back? They're expecting an answer. They're expecting a dollar answer. They're in charge of the conversation. You, Mr. or Mrs. Copywriter, is a commodity. And as a commodity, you aren't going to get paid. So you can't answer that question directly. Bad idea. What you need to do is you need to establish credibility and you need to establish authority. Now, I have a lot of people who I advise in a lot of different areas of marketing. And the same lesson goes across the board. Once I was working with my yoga teacher, because when people call her up for yoga lessons, the first thing out of their mouth is, how much do you charge for a yoga lesson? And I explained to her that they're asking that question because it's the only question that they know to ask. They don't ask, what type of yoga do you do? Because there are a lot of different kinds of yoga, because they don't know to ask that question. So they're asking the single question that makes them seem intelligent. And when I told her what to answer instead, by starting to ask them, why have you ever done yoga before? What's your goal in doing yoga? Do you have any injuries? She said to me, but I'm not answering their question. And I said to her, and I want you to understand this, you are answering the questions that they meant to ask if only they knew. I want you to think about that. So when someone calls you up and says, how much is a sales letter, and you answer back $5,000, think they're going to hire you? Not a prayer in heaven. But if they say to you, how much will you charge for a sales letter? And you say, oh, sales letter, what's the project about? What are you selling? You think they're going to say, no, I don't want to answer that question, just tell me how much? Oh, they're going to want to tell you, to share with you about your project. And in one instant, you move from copywriter for hire to trusted and valued collaborator and leader, depending on the questions that you ask. But the first thing that you have to stop is, don't answer that question of how much do you charge. Someone writes to you, sends you an email, how much will you charge me? I get these every day. I never, ever answer that question. That's why I get paid the big bucks, because people get me on the phone. I get them on the phone. And when you get them on the phone, that's when you can increase your value. And that's when you increase your value and they understand that they're going to increase their return. That's where you increase your income. But the first step is, do not fall into their trap. Now, I know that there are some of you out here, some of you out there in video land going, but wait, they're asking me a question. I know they're asking you a question. I'm not stupid. Been down that road, coached many, many, many people around this. And it's a law. If you answer that question, it's tilt, game over. Now, I go into great detail about what to do instead in value-based copy, but I'm not selling that here today. This is just a video explaining that this is what most copywriters do wrong, and there are ways of changing it. I've built an entire system about getting more money as a copywriter. It's not a simple solution. It's not a read my ebook tonight and start making money tomorrow. I'm not going to lie to you, because it's a matter of a process that produces results for just about everybody who follows it. I have a sales system, a selling system that I developed years ago when I was in the hypnosis business. It's really based on covert selling practices, covert persuasion practices, NLP, and unconscious persuasion. Now, people who use that process report significant increases in sales. You've got to have a system. The system makes it work. And you can go overnight from rookie to getting high four and five-figure jobs if you follow a system. But the first thing that you must do, promise me, is that when someone contacts you, it could be at a seminar, it could be on the phone or an email or on a forum, and they say, how much will you charge? Don't answer that, because it's an absolute guarantee that you aren't going to get paid. Please take my message to heart, because it's the first thing that you need to do to change your financial situation. This is Harlan Kilstein at Six Figure Copy. Thanks for joining me.